Thank you for being here tonight. Please join me as we go through the journey of Chabad of Fremont. So when Chaya and I were dating, we both shared a dream to be able to have impact on others and a community. This was inspired by the Rebbe and the Rebbe's vision to have a Jewish center in every corner of the globe so that there's access to a Jewish experience in every single place. So Chaya and I we looked into many different communities, but when we looked at Fremont, it really stood out. First of all, Silicon Valley is an up-and-coming place. And most importantly, we felt that with our personalities and with the current Jewish community, we'd have the most impact in this community in Fremont. So in 2012, October, our little Shana, Chaya, and myself, we left from New York. We took our wedding money, and we knew one person when we came here.
The past 5 years have been really wonderful. We have grown so much as a community, and one of the things which has been very, very important to us is to do everything joyfully, to imbue every single Jewish experience. Of course, every experience needs to be accessible, every experience needs to be relevant, but every experience that we have here needs to be joyful. Judaism should be something that makes us happy.
I found Chabad by accident. I was with a friend of mine who was walking, we walk every morning, and she mentioned the Chabad to me, and I was curious enough to look at the website and saw that they were having a class on Kabbalah. I was so delighted with the different women that I met, and I was particularly delighted with Chaya and her instruction. I was quite impressed how learned she is. I got to meet some other members of the community and had an opportunity to see how involved Chabad has become with those of us Jews who have been disenfranchised from any formal religiosity for many years. And all of us were sort of flocked to the Chabad. And the more I was here, the more I liked it. I'm more aware now of Judaism than I was a year ago as being a part of my life. What I really love is that if I take a look at some metaphysical idea, I can go to Chaya and Moshe and I can talk to them about that idea, and they can give me the Kabbalic or the Talmudic reference, and they can explain to me how that is still part of my Judaism, that my living a very metaphysical life doesn't take me outside of my Judaism, but actually brings me in closer.
Here at Chabad of Fremont, we do not measure our success in money. We don't measure our success in numbers. We measure our success in the impact that we have had on people's lives and in the impact that we've had on the community. And one way we can actually measure that impact is when we look at our teams.
When I first came, I was still part of the Hebrew school. It was just like a really fun experience, and then after my bat mitzvah I decided to start helping out at the Hebrew school because I wanted the experience to pass on to other kids too. When I teach children in Hebrew school, I feel like I'm really giving something to the world, and I feel happy that I'm giving something. And I mean, it's really fun to teach the kids too. They're all, they're fun.
Before we even got involved with the Chabad, we had no Jewish friends in this area. I had Jewish people I knew growing up and Jewish families, but my children did not have any Jewish friends, and now I'm happy to see that they have several. The other day I came in just at the very end of a story the rabbi was telling at the very end of Hebrew school. It was right before Yom Kippur started, and he was telling a story to all the children, and they were sitting there listening, and he was talking about how important it is to be kind to others. And it's those kinds of values that I want my children to learn. They get it from both of us, but to hear it and see it from the rabbi and Chaya and other people that are close to them. And it's very much role modeled by the rabbi and Chaya, how they contribute to society and to the community, not just to Jews, but to the entire community.
In 2015, my wife and I were living in Galveston. She had a second round of cancer. I knew my wife would want to have a rabbi present to talk to and discuss the matter, and as well as for my own sake as well. Talked to the hospital, and that's how I met Rabbi Moshe. He was the rabbi who came to the hospital. The first time he came, my wife was in the coma, but I had a nice meeting with the rabbi, conversations, talked about the situation, and felt very comfortable with the rabbi and comforted by him. I think the next day he came, or the day after that, and my wife had gotten alert, and I'll never forget, Moshe and I were talking by her bed, and she opened her eyes, and she had the biggest smile on her face when she saw Rabbi Moshe. It was just something, I think, that she knew she wanted, and felt good about the fact that the rabbi had come.
When I became affiliated with Chabad and have become more and more involved over the years, because I'm very much aligned with the values, I truly believe and support the mission and the vision of the organization as well, besides just finding incredible love and warmth and spirituality and friendship, which is so important as well. You've come to realize that you also have a moral obligation to financially support the organization. We need to look in terms of contributing and making firm commitments on a building fund so that we can have a permanent presence. We need to make sure that programming that has to happen can happen, and the reason it is happening is because there's sufficient funding to do it. And there's so much that we don't see that they do on a day-to-day basis. There's holding people's hands at night. It's going to the hospital as people are ill or sick or dying, or all of those. It's comforting the families. It's being there at all the difficult times that many of us don't see or take for granted. And rightfully, that means that they shouldn't have to worry about their financial status, and that's why it behooves each of us to step up and make a commitment to make sure that they will stay and that the legacy continues.
I love the Jewish community, and especially Moshe and Chaya for bringing so many of us together in such joy and celebration.
I love being part of the Jewish community.
I like to be here to have a very warm feeling of this community.
I love making friends.
I love celebrating holidays.
And I love when Rabbi Moshe says L'chaim and then we drink.
I like Hebrew school because I get to learn to speak a new language and I get to make friends.
It's been 5 years since they've been here, and we're very lucky to have them to bring the entire Jewish community together.
I love eating candies on the holiday.
I love everything what's going on here.
I love having fun.
I love having fun here.
And we love Chaya's food. Yay!
I love what you're doing here. Period.
Thank you for being a part of this growing community and for ensuring its continued growth.
L'chaim!